It's just Archie from International Boxing News with Shane Watson. Today, I just want to get your thoughts on the fight in general, with regarding Joe Joyce and Joseph Parker on September the 24th.
Massive fight. Joe's first pay-per-view. I mean, Joe Joyce's first pay-per-view, obviously not Parker's, he's done a few now. It's a massive fight, a crossroads fight in a way. It was not really crossroads for Joe, I mean, he's undefeated, but obviously for Parker, I guess it is kind of a crossroads, because they're both like at that same level now. Number one, number two, I don't know what Parker is in WBC right now. But it's a great fight, a great clash of styles. And it was the biggest fight that could be possibly made for either man, I would say, right now as well. So Parker had to come back, even though he tried getting out of the fight twice. Whether it's Parker or his team, that's another question. But and I think they found that there was nothing else on the table. I believe Boxer promised them a certain fee that he would get paid on his first fight, and then they realised that fee was not going to be able to be payable without having the right dance partner. I mean, Parker's biggest paydays and fights have happened with the right dance partner, and he's always been in the away corner because he needs a big British fighter to sell out the arenas to be that dance partner for. He can't come over to the UK and be the home fighter and fight Lucas Brown, which is the fight they tried to make. What arena is that going to sell out? It's struggle to do your call. It's a big fight maybe over there because you've got the whole New Zealand and Australian rivalry, but here it's nothing. So they had to come back, they had to work with what Frank has offered and given them, which is a very generous deal as well, and now the fight's made.
How do you believe Joe Joyce beats Joseph Parker?
Do you know what? There's many ways to beat him. Do you know what? His boxing ability, I don't understand why Parker's been dubbed as the boxer here. You know, Joe showed against the bar that he can box. He showed against the best amateurs, some of the best amateurs of all time that he can box. Watch him against Hergovich, watch him against plenty of other guys. He can definitely box as well. But I'm not saying that's the game plan. I'm not sure what the game plan is yet, because there's many ways that Joe can win this fight. So I think, what I personally think, watching Parker going off of the previous fights, I don't think too much of them going to change now. Listen, Andy Lee can tweak some little things and make him a little bit better and a bit sharper at certain things out here, but he's not going to change him completely. His engine has always been questionable. After the first 3 rounds, he goes missing until about round 8 or 9, and he's back again. The one heavyweight you can't go missing for 6 rounds against is Joe Joyce, but once he finds you, you don't get out. And it's a horrible place to be and a lonely place to be. So I can see Joe stopping him, being the first guy to stop Parker. Whether he knocks him out is different. I think the referee will stop it, or I think the towel might get thrown in.
With regard to that, obviously there is a rematch clause in this one. We did hear that in the press conference. Could you just elaborate on that a little bit more for me, please?
Yeah. So basically, we put a rematch clause in because that's what the A sides do, and that's what good teams do. Joe Joyce would not have given the slightest care in the world if there was a rematch, wasn't it? He never asked for it. I think you only found out today there was one in it. But it's just for safety. It's what you do. It's heavyweight boxing. We've worked so hard to get here. We're not going to take any risk. Well, you never know. It could get a dodgy decision. Anything can happen. Like I said, it's heavyweight boxing, man. They all punch hard as well. You never know. It's what you do for security as a team. That's what a good management team does and a good promotional team does. As far as Parker, he doesn't get a rematch clause, although he did beg for one, because he's the B-side. He doesn't give, other than being a name in the UK and people know he doesn't bring anything to the table. He's behind us in the rankings. So why would he get a rematch clause? And to be honest, doing another set of negotiations with that team, it's just beyond me. I don't know if I want to work and box him much longer if I've got to deal with that team again. So, and when I say team, I don't mean Ben Shalom, I mean David Higgins, Duco Events, those guys, man, they're crazy. Lawyer, they're all crazy, man. But not Ben Shalom, obviously we've got fighters with Ben Shalom, Floyd Marker and that, they're good, we know them. But
what was the hardest part in the negotiations?
David Higgins waking up and telling you have a deal agreed in principle, and you agree on everything, cool. You think you're like, yes, God, we've got that done. Call the next day. Yesterday he wanted 6 pineapples and 4 apples. Tomorrow he wants 16 apples and 14 pineapples. I'm like it's every day. You feel like you've got it done, and then there's something else. It's just like, when does it end? And then eventually you've got to say, well, you either do this or it's off. Because it gets to the point, it's just unrealistic. We're just going to keep doing this, letting it drag on all the time. So it is a nightmare. And by the way, this is not just us saying it. We get on well with everyone. We've got a great relationship with every management team, every promotional company. But has he got a good relationship with anyone? No, because Parker had to leave Matchroom, and Parker's horrible negotiation with Hennessy when they had to fight Huey Fury, everything. He just has problems with everyone.
Just with regarding that, the broadcaster for the rematch, will that either be on BT Sport Box Office again, or will that be on Sky?
The rematch is on Sky. That's how we made that deal. Obviously, in our eyes, that rematch isn't happening, so they're kind of irrelevant to us, really. All it was about was getting Joe the fight he deserved. And to be honest, as a management company, it don't really matter to us where Joe fights, as long as he's getting paid the right money and it's the right fight and it's got the right reward at the end of it. And that's just the way that I see this fight, really. So whatever happens with Joseph Parker afterwards, it's up to him and whatnot. But there ain't going to be a rematch. We just put that in there for security reasons, like every fight does. Anthony Joshua has a defence against Pulev. There's a rematch clause in there. You wouldn't be like, oh no, he must be scared he's going to lose to Pulev. I don't think he was scared, was he? It's just what good teams do, and a lot of the big fighters do that. Like, I think Warrington had one against Lara. Like, that was only a 10-rounder. It wasn't even a title fight. It's just what you do when you've got a big A side. And I know that Parker and Joyce, probably name-wise, are quite similar. What I'm saying is, like, he's got all the rewards and the marbles. That is why Parker wanted this fight in the end, because there's a high reward at the end of it. How else is he going to get a world title shot? It's impossible. The only way that any heavyweight is going to get a world title shot now, like in the next year or so, is if outside of the top boys, is if you fight and beat Joe Joyce. So it's the only option he had, really.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Shane. Thank you for your time today.
Top man.
And have a good rest of your day.
That's one, mate.